Now. All right, we are recording.
We're recording.
Hey, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all the superstars around the world. My name is Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas. And part of my service to the Talent Tribe is to find awesome people around the world, or global gems, as I like to call them, to get in front of the tribe and really help me drive some points home. And today, I want to talk about outsourcing your home life. A lot of people tell me, Frank, you do so much, you do all this, but you don't understand what it's like for me because you don't have kids, because you are not a parent, because you don't have a spouse, because you're single, because you're young, and blah, 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 blah. Look, I got 7 companies. I don't need kids. I got 7 kids on my own. I got employees. I employ several hundred people, so don't talk to me about kids and this kind of stuff. But hey, you're right. I've never birthed another human being. I've never fathered another child. Okay, I'll give you that. But I'm busy too. I'm going to show you with the help of Krista how you can outsource all the busy work in your home life right now to make that time for your business, because all business is and all business requires is time. If you can just master that time management part of your life, no matter what you are, if you're a 29-year-old who's single, who travels the world and does yoga while you smoke cigars, you know, you can outsource so many things. But if you're a stay-at-home mom, if you're a mom that has a business, if you're a stay-at-home dad, if you have a full-time job and a side hustle, and you're a parent doing softball and soccer or karate, whatever the kids are doing these days, I don't know, you can still do this. So without further ado, Krista, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and who you are?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Frank Salas. I'm starting with a thank you. Thank you so much for including me. Frank and I met recently in the last, month or two in all these fabulous Facebook groups that we belong to. So I am part of the Talent Tribe, and I have been learning so much from him. So I appreciate all the stuff that you give out to your tribe and your people, and all the great content that you provide for everyone, because it's all really good stuff. So I am Krista Rizzo, and I am a relationship and parenting expert. And I'm the creator of the WhyAmIYelling brand. And for those of you who are not familiar with WhyAmIYelling, it started out as a blog 6 years ago. So I blog, I contribute content and collaborate with other brands. I write for the Huffington Post. I write for the Today Show parenting website. I have my own website, so I do my own blog at WhyAmIYelling.com. I host a weekly live video show on Huzzah on Thursdays at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning. And I have been taking the time recently to partner with other thought leaders across multiple industries, like Frank here, so we can help bring our messages to you and help everybody just be better versions of themselves. So that's really who I am and what I do.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of people on here right now, maybe that have kids, that want to start a business, that haven't started a business, that are in the beginning stages. Maybe they have an established business and they're like, okay, things are going good, but I want to take it to that next level. I'm not satisfied with what's going on with my business, but I can't do this because I got to take my kids to karate. They got to get the new iPhone. They got to go to dance recital, and I've got to carpool my kids, and X, Y, and Z. Human beings take, maintenance, if you will, doctor's appointments and whatnot. So I really want to focus on different areas of parents' lives. And the first part I want to focus on is the house. So everybody on earth, unless you're homeless, and if you're homeless, maybe you're at a library watching this, but everybody has a home. And every home has duties. You have to wash laundry. You've got to clean your house, unless you like living in filth, which I don't recommend. But, there's so many things that you have to do. And I'm a dude, so like I'm pretty messy, and I have a maid. Like I'm 29 years old, everybody, and I have a maid, a nanny that takes care of me 6 days a week. That's where I come from. But I want to talk to, or have Krista talk about her life and her lifestyle. So tell me what your home life is like right now, Krista.
So, my thinking on this is, really what I do is help you navigate the exciting path of raising your children by addressing the fear, embracing the milestones, and encouraging a creative and positive family dynamic. So allowing you to have a better version of you starts with your personal growth and concentrating on mastering your communication skills and putting in the work to make sure it gets done. And so we're all busy people, right? We have jobs. Some of us have jobs outside of building our own empires, right? I have my job and I'm building my own business. There are people out there who work 9 to 5s. There are people out there who work 9 to 5s, have a side hustle. We all work. And as parents, you have another job, right? You have this parenting job, and it's the only job that is 24/7, 365 for the rest of your life. And so I have 2 jobs. I'm building my business and I'm running my house and my family, and that job never stops. So I thought it would be fun to do, I broke it up into 2 sections. So we'll do the home section first, right? I like to do task-based outsourcing at home. So that means everybody in the house has a job. My kids have jobs. My husband has a job. I have jobs. Whether it is something as small as making your bed in the morning, cleaning up after dinner, taking out the trash, cleaning up your toys and doing all that kind of stuff. It's a job, and it's one less job for me to have to do, so I can focus my time on other things in the house, right? So that's really a time management thing when it comes to running the interior of your house. When it comes to the tangible items, right, we talk about ordering groceries, because it's much easier to order groceries online, have them delivered to your door. I live in New York City, so everything here gets delivered at any time, day or night. So I'm a lot spoiled by that. And it's something that I, am accustomed to and probably can't ever live without. So I order my groceries online. We order dinner probably twice a week. Have dinner delivered in. Go ahead.
Hey, Krista, real quick, let's talk about the grocery time, because when you go to the grocery, especially in any major city, obviously there's travel time, there's checkout time.
Yep.
I always get stuck behind the old lady that still writes check, that wants to balance her checkbook right then and there because she'll forget or whatever. There's a time that you save there. And if you have kids, you got to make sure the kids go potty before they leave. You got to make sure that they dress before they leave. You got to make sure.
Or you don't bring them, so you have to find a place for them to be watched.
Right. And so you're telling me that you don't deal with this at all, because you get your groceries that all human beings need. Every human being needs to eat.
Delivered.
To live. You get that delivered, and that just, you don't even deal with that at all.
Not usually, no. Unless it's like, I want to go to the grocery store to have some peace and quiet, because that's what I do. That's
awesome. Cool. Yeah. And so you're getting your meals delivered twice a week for dinner.
Sure. We have dinners delivered. We do laundry. That's another thing. Living in a city, not every apartment has a washer and dryer. And when you have 2 kids, you have a lot of laundry. So for many years prior to us having a washer and dryer in our home, we outsourced our laundry, drop it off and pick it up the next day. They would even deliver it. So I've had people, washing my unmentionables for a long time, and it's great. It's, it's one less thing that we have to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are some few things that you can do immediately. So number 1, you can get your groceries delivered. You can get your laundry done. You can get your dinner delivered. Those are a few things that are going to save people, let's say realistically, every hour right there. That's 4 to 5 hours that you can put into your business. So
sure.
That's great amount of time, but it's still not a lot. It's only 20 hours a week. That's half a week for most traditional employees. And as you know, in business, you're working 80, 100 hours a week. So we save some time there in the home. Is there anything else in the home that we can talk about? Like maybe even the cleaning part of it. Let's talk about
we do cleaning services. Even tasking out the cleaning to the kids. Somebody can vacuum, somebody else can, dust, somebody else can make the beds. Like that kind of thing happens in my house all the time. But yes, cleaning lady. If you have pets, we live in the city, dog walking is a big thing. Like have somebody else walk your dog for you. You don't need to walk your own dog. Like you're crazy if you're doing that. And also there's for me, one of my major things is babysitting / daycare, right? So I have 2 boys, and my older son navigates the city all by himself every day to go to school. So he is fine and he's on his own. But my little one still needs, to be dropped off and picked up. So I drop off in the morning at 8 o'clock, his school, but I have a daycare that picks him up after school to take him for the rest of the day after 2:30. So his day is from 8:30 to 2:30 in school in pre-K. And then I have a daycare that's right around the corner that picks him up at 2:30 and takes him till 6 o'clock. So I don't have to deal with those 3.5 hours of what am I going to do with my kid. So That's another thing, like look into babysitting and daycare after school so you can keep those hours like a regular full day to get your work done.
I dig it. I dig it. There's a lot of people who would feel guilty about giving. I know there's a huge controversy about a woman that just started showing her son, who's like 19 months old. He was making his own grilled cheese sandwich. He was,
I saw that.
You know, so yeah, that's a recent video that went viral. And that is causing a lot of controversy. And a lot of people, I feel, are, you know, especially parents and moms especially, they feel guilty if they let somebody else handle their chores. They feel guilty like they can't provide the care that their household needs. What would you say to that person?
I would say you need to get over it. You know, here's the thing. I think it depends on the person. If you are, I get that. Like if you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't have a job, you feel like you have to be doing all of it, right? You feel like, okay, I need to make sure that everything's done and I have to do it all because I don't want somebody to come home and say, well, you're home all day, so why should I get you a cleaning lady, or why should I help you do this, or why should I help you do that? And that for me is not a good thing, because I feel like there's still time, and believe me, the stay-at-home mom job is the hardest job in the world. I would much rather go to work and build a business than stay at home with my kids all day. That's not even a lie, and they know it. Because it's hard, and you're being pulled in 50 different directions, and you think you can get all this stuff done, and 9 times out of 10 you don't get it done, and then it's like at the end of the day you sit down and you're like, what the hell just happened? And so my advice to that is, don't feel guilty about anything. If you feel like you want to take on the task of providing for your family by, you know, cleaning the house and taking care of all the things, make sure that you have a really good time management program in place, that you're not missing anything and stuff isn't falling through the cracks. Because I will tell you that if you take it all on yourself, stuff is going to start to fall through the cracks, and you're going to start to go a little bit crazy.
I love that. I love that. We had somebody here live on Periscope, Fulla Sade, who is actually in New York City as well. And she says that she feels guilty she feels a little guilty when she sends her driver to drop her daughter off at school. So she is a business person. She's an accountant, and she sees the value in something. And actually, she's from Maryland. Sorry, she's not from New York City. She's from Maryland. So she feels a little guilty from doing that. You know, and I know you just went over that, but that guilt is very deep rooted. Can we actually address the issue, the core primal issue with that guilt, and help people rationalize that?
Sure. I mean, it's called mom guilt, actually, and it's a thing. It's a real life thing. And a couple months ago, Jackie Perez, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure we did a challenge in the Why Am I Yelling Facebook group about how to get over the mom guilt. And it really is a live thing, because I think as women and as mothers, mostly, I mean, I don't know that dads really go through the whole guilt thing. No, look, you're not even a dad and you're saying no. Yeah. We have a tendency to carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. And I call myself a pack mule all the time. And it's figurative and literal, because I'm constantly carrying backpacks and bags and, stuff that belong to my kids and myself. But we feel like we have to do it all, because I think that's just something that's ingrained in us. And for the longest time, I was guilty of it too. It was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to just do it all and make it all happen, and I'll suffer in silence. And then it all got a little bit too much for me. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on, a full-time job and 2 kids and a house. Oh, I have 2 houses. So I have a house here and a house in Connecticut. So we go back and forth between 2 homes, and, food and bills and all the stuff that just piles up. And if you take it on yourself, there's no time for yourself. And so all of a sudden you've lost yourself along the way. And then that turns into a way bigger problem than just, making it easy and saying, hey, can somebody just help me over here? And we'll make it much better and way more cohesive for our family if we're all working together. So I think the mom guilt is actually, it's a thing. It's totally a thing, and it's valid, but it's something that we as women and as mothers, we have to look at it straight on and just be like, guess what? we can't feel guilty about this anymore. And we are just as important as everybody else in the room. That's my 2 cents. I can't hear you. I lost you.
Yeah, I was on mute. I had a lot of background noise over here. I want to make sure the recording was good. Moms are always, last to take care of themselves. They'll feed their kids first. They'll take a shower last. They'll go to sleep last because they're, naturally going to do that. That's most moms. We have a lot of controversy actually going on right now from people saying that you should feel guilty for devoting time to your business, and you should, family leaves a legacy, and if you don't have your family, then what legacy you're going to leave? I actually disagree, much like I can see you disagree.
I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
And I'm going to leave my perspective from not a parent, and hopefully you can, really drive this point. But, I work on my business, and I don't have a family right now because I want to leave a legacy for my business, for my family through my businesses. And if you really want to leave a legacy, what would you rather leave a legacy? Hey, kid, remember when you were 2, but you really don't, when I wiped your ass, or when I did all this? Or what if your daddy did that? They're not going to know the difference. But what they are going to remember is when Crystal was out doing her interviews and her workshops and her public speaking and building her business online. That's what they're going to remember. They're going to remember those things because they're going to see the effects. She has 2 homes right now. Who knows, 10 years she might have 200 homes, and she's out there, and that's a legacy that she's leaving towards her family right there. So that's my perspective. Tell me about your perspective. Let's light this person on fire.
All right, so I wholeheartedly disagree with whoever that person is, and I'm sorry if I'm going to shoot you down right now, but I'm with you on that. Here's what I think. I think legacy, it goes 2 ways here for me. It is the kind of mother that I am to my children, and the love that I give them, and the support and the encouragement and the nurturing that I give them as a mom. And then, I'm raising boys, and so, or men actually, I'm raising men. And it's important for me to show them that, I'm working hard to make sure that they know that everything that their dad and I are doing it's for them. It's to make, an impact on the world, an impact on our businesses, just to leave a mark and to leave a message. And I want them to be able to continue my business legacy as this grows and continues and expands. And I want them to be proud of me. And I want them to see that, oh my God, my mom's working her ass off, because you know what? She really wants this to be successful. And she really wants us to see that if you work really hard for something, you can have whatever you want. And so I feel like it's a double-edged sword. Yes, I will never feel guilty for following my dream and following my passion in my business. And I feel like if my kids see that, they're not going to hold me accountable and be mad at me for not spending time with them, because I do spend time with them. I've become a master at figuring out how to maximize my time management so I can spend my time with my kids and not feel guilty about being away from my business for a little while, and also not spend time with them and not feel guilty about that too.
So you brought up a nice little dichotomy there. So you have guilt when you're away from your family, and you also have guilt when you're away from your business, right? Sure. I mean, I have 3 children. I have 2 boys and I have a business, and this is my 3rd baby. Like, there's no more babies coming out of my body, but this is my 3rd child. That's very interesting. So that's definitely an issue that you have to deal with. And I really feel like a lot of people won't process this, and they won't deal with that. And that's just something you have to deal with. I recently came across a term that for every level, there's a devil. And for this person, that devil may be, they haven't yet overcome this particular guilt of either the business or the family, or sometimes both.
Right.
What would you do to really help people just say, look, guys, you don't need to feel guilty. Here's why. Let's really break this down. We've done a great job of identifying. Let's break this down to make people have a different perceived thought of that guilt. What can we change that guilt with to replace it with something beautiful, something magical that is really going to build a future for everyone's family?
So I actually I do a 90-minute intensive for moms called Back to You. And it really is, it's a deep dive into why are you feeling this way? How are we going to get you out of it? Let's focus on your mindset. Let's get a program working for you that's going to help you overcome this obstacle that you're having, this block that you're feeling, this guilt, this whatever it is, the feeling that you're having. It doesn't even necessarily have to be feeling like guilty. And we start there. We start with, tell me your story and tell me why you're having this, because there's always a reason behind it, right? It's not just like, oh, I feel guilty. There's a reason, because there are plenty of people out there who don't feel guilty. So I want to know why. I want to know the background for it. I want to have the conversation around it. And then I want to talk about how we can fix it in your life. What are the catalysts for change? And, you know, steps we can put together or put in place to make you help you overcome all of it, because you don't have to feel guilty all the time. Sometimes, sure, you know, like I can't make it to, you know, a friend's birthday party because I've got this thing going on. I kind of feel bad about that. I don't know necessarily that I feel guilty, but you pick and choose your battles, and you do that every day of your life, regardless of whether or not you're a parent or not. So this is just one step deeper, I think, into pick and choosing your battles and trying to figure out what it is that you need the most, because that's really what's most important. It's what you need. This way you can give it out to everybody else successfully.
That's awesome. Hey, so we have Brooke, who is joining us live on Periscope, and she said that when she was a teenager, her mom left her family, and because of that, she overcompensates with her kids right now. And from what and another person, Ian, he says, I completely disagree. This is something that I don't even stand behind. It's the same person who's on the opposite spectrum, and he says that he doesn't agree because money means nothing, and money is not going to leave a legacy. Money is not going to be able to help our the family life be more cohesive. He just completely disagrees on that end. What's up, little dude?
It's my little one. Yeah, listen, it's not about the money. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this because this is what I love to do. I'm doing this because this is my passion. I'm doing this because this is what lights a fire in my belly, helping other people be a best version of themselves, whether they're parents or not, or just getting through life in their career, whatever it is. The money that's secondary to me. It's definitely secondary to me. And I feel like, I don't know that guy's name, but whoever you are, I would be more interested to know what his wife thinks about it. And I would also be more interested to know how they work as a family unit. Like, does she take time for herself, or is she the person who runs the house and runs everything and, you know, doesn't have time to identify with her true self? Because that, for me, is non-negotiable. Like, I need my time, even if it's just a half an hour to go get my nails done. Like, it's that imperative for me. And I think that's what a lot of us, like you said before, don't do. Like, we always put ourselves last, and I still do it. I put myself last all the time, but I also make sure that when I'm putting myself last, I put myself first somewhere else. It's like, okay, today I was last, but you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to go get my nails done first, and then everybody else will fall into place. And if you have a partner that you're doing that with, like I do, I mean, my husband's the best guy on the planet. So, you know, for me to say, hey babe, I need to go do this, or I need to, you know, go to the house by myself with my girlfriends for the weekend. Can you like take the kids? And he's like, totally on board. Do what you got to do. Because he knows that I'm going to come back and no one's going to skip a beat. It's going to be like, okay, here we go. Off to the next thing, off to the races, off to wherever. So I really feel like when you're saying something like, I wholeheartedly disagree that, you know, you need to be focused on your family, I get it. And listen, my family is my first priority. I will give it all away if I didn't have the family that I had. But if you have the right partnership, you can do whatever you can do whatever you want. And if your wife wants to stay home, great. Then that's her choice. But make sure it's her choice too, not what you're telling her to do. And I don't know what their situation is, but
yeah, this is great stuff. And you know, this is a very controversial topic because there's so many moms, especially who are maybe either single or who were at home, who see the opportunity to build a business online or work from home online.
Yeah.
And these are things that they're dealing with. Now, from what I understand, you know, the services that you provide and the way that you bring value to the marketplace, specifically to parents, is by, you know, there's no one size fits all technique. You really have to look at what is your life, what is your lifestyle, what is your, like you said, partnership, how many kids you have, and so on and so forth. And there's a few things that you can do mentally to prepare, but this is something that you have to decide to do. And you know, let's move off the topic of the guilt and stuff, and let's go back to some more practical stuff. But I just spent some time there because I know that was a limiting belief and an obstacle for a vast majority of people. So, you know, we're outsourcing the home. We've got Alice, our maid. Remember the Brady Bunch? We got Alice, the maid.
Alice, our maid.
Cleaning the house, doing the laundry, walking the dogs. You know, we have some people that have drivers. And then I would suggest people, if you're like in a suburb or a community, why not have a carpool with all the other moms or parents?
Carpooling.
Time.
So good. So good. All that stuff is good. And I say, you know, like sometimes we even do like date nights. And so like my girlfriend will take my kids so we can go out on dates, or I'll take their kids. So it's like, you know, you don't have to spend the money on a babysitter because babysitters in New York City are really expensive. And you know, you just kind of figure it out, and you figure out how to maximize your time to whatever it is your family needs. And everybody's different, right? So, you know, I've got kids that go in two separate directions all day long. One's going to this sport, one's going to that lesson, one's going to this. And if I didn't have some type of mechanism in place, even if it's just a checklist of who and a scheduler of who has to go where, we'd be screwed. So time management is really important. Maximizing your time management is really important. And outsourcing the stuff that you can outsource is great. I mean, like I have a VA, you have many VAs. I mean, I wouldn't be able to run my business without her. Like she knows it. So, you know, anywhere I can make it easier for me to be able to focus on what I need to focus on for my family and my business it's imperative to make everybody successful.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely love that. Now let's talk about, okay, people are, you know, getting some more free time. Let's say they start doing all those things. I can easily, with all the stuff that we've been talking about, see people saving, you know, maybe 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, maybe. And now we're talking about some serious, you know, 60 hours that you can put into your business per month. That's some damage right there. You can do some work that's done very well there. So let's talk about people that have businesses or people that are interested in having businesses. So you've got your home life on lock, but there's stuff outside of the home. There's stuff like schools. There's stuff like doctors, medications, appointments. You mentioned that very briefly. How does someone get a hold and a handle of that? So let's say they handle their household stuff, but then there's all those other things. What are some things that people can do or outsource outside of the home and not just inside the house?
You know, I feel like that's a little bit harder because everyone's got a different situation. So like for me, I don't necessarily like to outsource my doctor's appointments with my kids or any of that kind of stuff, but I do like to organize them far enough in advance unless somebody gets sick and it's like, you know, a one-off, so that I know how to schedule my time around what else needs to be done. So dentist appointments, doctor's appointments, all that stuff happens, you know, it's scheduled several weeks or even sometimes months in advance in order for me to know what our schedules are going to be. And if maybe I don't have to take them, maybe my husband can take them, depending on what our schedules are. You know, as far as outsourcing, like that kind of stuff, I mean, I guess you could always like hire somebody to pick up your medication if you needed to have somebody do that, or, you know, hire somebody to be like your messenger or pickup person, or, you know, whatever, like your Uber driver, whatever it is that you're outsourcing for like getting around town. That definitely happens here. So those are things that I would say off the top of my head are things that I would do. And then there's other stuff that are just really time management hacks. It's not really necessarily outsourcing because it's stuff that I want to be a part of. Like I want to go to my kids' doctor's appointments. So I'll go and I might move this and this over here and, you know, do something else on the back end. It's just like, it's a big juggling act is really what it is.
Absolutely. And where you and I really start to blend and come over the same territory is when we help people just really organize and manage those things right there. Like that. So while you're doing what you want to do, being at your doctor's appointment, what people can do at home if they're at their kids' doctor's appointments from your phone, which is a,
Oh yeah.
you can run your business here. And there's so many different trainings that I've done already on like Trello, on how to really just outsource all the little basics.
I love Trello, the best.
But I want to focus more on the personal side for this particular conversation. Some things that I outsource is obviously my driving. I don't drive in any city that I'm in. I haven't driven at all this year. I sold my car in January of 2016 because my thumbs are better served building my business on my phone.
Right.
So that's one thing that I do. Also, dry cleaning. That's one thing that I get delivered for me. I wear a lot of suits. I have a lot of presentations. I get that done. Another thing that I get outsourced for me is the appointments, any personal appointments. I have SOPs or standard operating procedures for that. So if I call my assistant and I say, hey, I need to get an appointment with my optometrist whenever it works for me, my assistant will then go and she knows who my optometrist is, what times I like to go in there. She'll book that, and then she'll schedule an Uber for me at that time to be able to pick me up from my home. So that's saving me 15 minutes on a phone call, 5 minutes to get the Uber. All I got to do is be ready and show up. So those are a few things that can really help you outsource certain things, but it even goes deeper than that. Someone's birthday, let's say you are at, there's like obviously you got to do the Facebook page, the Facebook message, blah, blah, blah. But I have my assistant actually gets access to a very small limited credit card that's got like a super low budget and say, hey, buy this person something for less than $5.
Flowers.
Flowers. Yeah, something like that. So there's so many ways that you can just outsource those little minute things. Because the purpose of this conversation is for us to show people where they can outsource the busy work in their lives so they can spend more time with their family, so they can spend more time at home, and so they can spend more time in business. In 2016, almost 2017, there's so much technology that you can leverage to do it all. It is doable. The only thing that you have to change, and you keep bringing this up, is time management. So let's say somebody has a business, a job, a family, kids, maybe they work out, they have a social life, they have all that stuff. How do you personally weigh all this stuff out? Like where do you put your priorities? Like how do you organize it all? Just break this down, break that down.
So I organize it based on everyone's needs, and that's collectively, right? So, a typical day for us, if it's during the week, is I'm up early before everybody else, and I'm on my phone answering emails and getting stuff done at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I get the kids up. My oldest one gets up at 6:45. He gets himself dressed. He gets himself breakfast. He does all this stuff. I'm getting the little one together. I drop them off at school. They're done. And then depending on the day, I take an hour for myself to go to the gym. And then I come home and I get to work. And it's, 9:30 to 5:30, or, business calls, doing what I need to do, writing my blog posts, scheduling my stuff, talking to my VA, getting all my business stuff going. That's my 8 solid hours of focusing and non-interrupted time. And then evenings are more for, sporting events, practices, like that kind of thing. So I do carve out time in the evening to do that, to take them where they need to go, to make dinner, to spend time with them, because I do spend time with my children, people that are on Periscope thinking that I don't. Homework, all that kind of stuff. I want to do that. I don't want to not do that. And then when everybody goes to bed at 9 o'clock, I have, a good 2 or 3 hours to get back on the phone or, get online, write some more stuff, do whatever else I need to do, follow up with clients, whatever it is that I'm doing. So I do have plenty of time. I don't put in a 17-hour day just at work, because I have 2 jobs. I'm a mom and I am an entrepreneur. So, I probably do put in a good 11 or 12 hours. So it's not a bad thing, because I have 2 jobs. One's 24 hours and one's half of that, or, a little bit more. So I think, and it depends on the day. Some days there's more time and some days there's less time. Weekends are tough because, the kids are around, there's things to do, there's parties to go to, there's Halloween's coming up this weekend. We have a big Halloween party on Saturday. So it's going to be soccer in the morning, up to the country in the evening, big party. So there'll be some time for me on my phone, but it's not going to be a big work day. And I know that. So I'm making up for it on the front end this week, where I didn't schedule that many appointments and I'm just getting a lot of stuff done. So It really is. It's all about time management and being able to get it done smartly.
And that's all sounding great. You know, that's like, well, that works amazing for Krista. And, you know, she's, you know, got everything figured out. But my life is in shambles. And my kids are everywhere. My kid just broke his leg this morning at football.
Oh, it happens.
All this stuff happens. So where would you recommend somebody to get started on really getting this skill? Because this is only a skill, a time management skill. Where can you recommend someone to get started? What are some very easy, actionable things that somebody can do right now to change their life and life hack their life so this is no longer a challenge or an obstacle for them in their business?
I think you have to break it down. I think you have to break down your pros and your cons, your most important. You make a list of what's the most important thing to you and what's the least important thing to you, and fill it out in the middle. And then you have to find a really good scheduler, and you have to get on board with being consistent and making sure everybody that has access to that scheduler is on it and they know what's happening too. Like, you know, we have a calendar in our house and everybody checks the calendar. It's like, okay, this is where everyone's going today. So I really feel like organization is the first thing that you need to handle. It's like, you just need to just get organized. So you need to dissect your situation and then pick your pieces and let's go with the most important first, clearly. And then, you know, from there you stack the deck, right? And then put it in a scheduler and then communicate to your family and set expectations. And, you know, it's all about communication for me. So we talk to the kids. This is what you should expect from today. Everybody gets a brief rundown of who's picking up, who's dropping off, where you're going after school if someone else is in the mix that day. But I really feel like making sure the number one thing is finding a really great system to have like solid time management. So if you don't have that, that's where we start. We start with, let's sit down, let's analyze and organize, and then let's get you moving on a program that's going to, you know, make you put all these steps into action. And then you're going to be able to breathe easier at the end of the day and be like, oh, wait a minute, where did I get all this time? Where did I get all this time back? It's really an amazing, because listen, I haven't always been this organized. I mean, I kind of have been, but you get better at it as more stuff gets thrown on you, or at least that's how I am. So, you know, there are lots of ways to, you know, overcome it and work through it.
How do your kids feel about this whole organization type of thing? Like, what do the kids feel about it?
They don't know any different. Their whole life, like they don't know. They so when my oldest one was little, my husband and I used to, like, we still do, like, we set expectations for them every single day. There's an expectation set. It's okay, today you have this after school, today you have that. This is who's picking you up. Mommy's dropping you off. Mommy's picking you up. Daddy's dropping off. Mommy's picking up. But my kids always knew and still know what is happening every single day, pretty much from morning until night. We have soccer practice on Mondays. We have music on whatever day. You have flag football on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's keeping them aware of how to stay organized. I'm starting from a really early age. Like they know it's 7:45 in the morning. We have to get dressed. We got to brush our teeth. Like, this is the time. So they're scheduled. I'm scheduled, and everybody just kind of like, we move way. It's much smoother than having chaos all around. And I don't do well in chaos. So it's like, guess what? Everybody needs to be moving and doing what they need to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great perspective. And I'm sure the kids are obviously going to see benefits from this way, way, way down their lives. You know, as far as like, you know, being organized, getting their stuff together, not procrastinating, because it seems like they're on the ball. What if you have somebody right now that's listening that has kids that are 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, they're kind of in their ways. And, you know, I have 10 brothers and sisters. So even though I don't have kids, you know, I have helped other people, you know, and really contributed in that arena. And I know kids at those ages are a little bit more difficult to get to eat their veggies, if you will.
Yes. Yes. You know, for me, the most important thing is communication. And really just being open and honest with them and giving them their space too. Like, you can't just set these rules and be like, okay, that's it. That's the end of the day. Like, there has to be some give and take, and there has to be some compromise. And there has to be a lot of dialogue going, especially at that age. Like, when you're in like I have an almost 11-year-old. So it's like the teen age. It's a tough age. And all of a sudden your cute, cuddly kid just turned into something else. And it's true. And yeah, so it's all about communication. It's all about open dialogue. It's all about being honest with them. It's all about open door policy. Like we can have any conversation in our house. I don't care how embarrassing it is. I don't care how sensitive the subject is. Bring it to us because we're totally expecting it. And I think my kids know that. I think we talk to them enough, and I think that we reinforce it enough. But I think that if you have open lines of communication and you're reinforcing all the positive stuff, the love and the support and the encouragement and just making them feel comfortable and, aware and, happy that they can go to their parents with any topic or any conversation. I think that if you're starting this whole, organization conversation at this age is really where you need to go, because, teenagers need a little bit more room. They need a little more wiggle room. They need a little more privacy. They need all that stuff. And so we as parents have to be aware of that too. It's like they're becoming adults much faster than we would like to admit. And so think about put yourself in their shoes. Like I say that all the time, like put yourself in this kid's shoes. Like he's going through all these body things and all this like emotional things and all this stuff is going on. Remember back to when you were that age and just take a step back and be like, you know what? I get it. And acknowledge that they're going through this, because I think they want that too. It's not just like, you can't just keep like beating them with, you have to. You need to make them understand why, but you also need to hear their side of the story too. So it's like, there's a lot of stuff going on in there.
Oh, this is great. Like I don't have kids, but I have a huge family, and I can really see this benefiting a lot of households for sure. I want to maybe talk about how important is it if you want to build a business, if you want to build a successful business, to have not only the kids on board, but the entire family 100% support on this lifestyle. Because when you run your household this way, it is a little, it's a little weird, and I hate using that word. And I would say it's just not the norm. It's not the standard, which is okay. Most people are not normally shooting to be multimillionaires and shooting to be working from home. It is weird to have an online business, and this is a pretty weird conversation to be having, but it's very relevant to a vast majority of people, especially social media, and the people that are in both of our audiences. They're like, I want to be successful, but, and it's always the kids. And I'm like, why would you blame your kids? Why would you blame your kids? You should use that as your reason to be successful. So they're my reason. So talk to us about, how important it is to have every single person behind this, and how to get people to get everybody behind it.
When I made the decision to start my own business a little bit more than a year ago, I haven't been doing this that long. My husband was actually, I was exploring my options, right? I left my job because I was unhappy, and I was exploring my options, and this entrepreneur topic came up, and I felt really passionate about it, and I kept talking about it, and I wouldn't shut up about it. And it was like, I think I really want to like look into this, and the coaching industry is like, I'm very intrigued and all this stuff, right? And my husband was actually the one who I was worried about it, because he very well could have been like, no, listen, you have to go get a job, and you have to make this much money, and you have to do this and whatever. Like, we have 2 kids, and we have 2 mortgages, and we have all this stuff that we have stuff. So no, it's not even an option. But he literally was the first one to say to me, you can't not try this. Like, you have to do this. I see it in your face. I see that it's what you want to do. And so guess what? We'll figure it out. Like, that's just what we'll do. We'll figure it out. And so when you have that behind you, it's like, okay, I can do anything. Like, when you have the support of your family behind you, you can do anything. And so now my kids see it, and they see, daddy supports mom, mom supports dad. We all support each other, and everybody kind of just accepts it. And you conform to it, and it's like, okay, well, this is how it's going to be, and this is how it's going. This is what we're doing. And they understand right now that I'm not laying in bed with them tonight because I'm here talking to you guys, and they're fine. Like, they're fine. They're in their bedroom. They're doing okay. So yeah, I think it's super important to have everybody on board. because it just makes you feel better as the person who's trying to, launch a successful business and get their message out there. And I also think it helps your relationship, helps it helps your communication, it helps your relationship, it helps everything. And if you are not in that situation, you need to call me, because I will help you get to that part. I will help you get to that point. I will help you have the conversation or learn the tools to have the conversation to make sure that everybody is on board.
Absolutely. We got some great feedback live on Periscope from that, and on Facebook Live as well. We did have some questions, but I really wanted to just, commend you for being able to be in that position, to be able to be so open. And it sounds like a lot of stuff that you do is through communication. And I know you encourage people to reach out to you. And my thoughts on people who want to get certain things of their life handled, whether it's with me, with social media, real estate investing, outsourcing, productivity,
yep,
all that stuff, and if you're interested in any of that, or even, getting your household in order and communicating with your kids better, whatever you're trying to do, you got to have somebody in front of you who's ahead of you in that journey. When I was a boxer for a year, I was an amateur boxer for a year, I didn't just step into the ring. Well, actually I did. I got my ass kicked. I did. I got knocked out, but then I got a coach, and he was like, hey, you got knocked out because you didn't have your hands up. And next time you go, put your hands up, kid. And I'm like, all right, hey, that's probably a good idea. Let me put my hands up. So you have to have people who are ahead of you to really show you what you're doing wrong. And I hate using that word, but you're doing stuff wrong. There's a right way to do things. There's many right ways to do things, but the way you're doing it is not the proper way, or maybe it's not the proper way for you. You never know until you speak to somebody who's already doing that. So I am a huge proponent of masterminding, mentoring, all that stuff. And the success, there's more millionaires in this year. Every year there's more and more millionaires, because millionaires who have made it have learned from other millionaires, and it just grows that wealth. We see this with technology every year, with new humanitarian stuff. There's just so many things being done in the world, and so many advances being happening. So I really encourage you guys to reach out to Krista if this is something that you're looking to get handled in your life. We did have a question, and this was from Brooke, and you kind of touched on it a little bit. You said that your husband you have great husbands, greatest guy in the world, I think was the quote, or on earth. Yeah. And, he's obviously very supportive. There's some people that don't have supportive husbands that are like, hey, why are you doing the social media thing? Why are you working from home? When are you going to get a job? There's some guy, and there are. That. Hey, we have mouths to feed. We can't just rely on my income. Some places are still in a recession. What if your husband is not behind maybe you building your business as you work from home or work online? How do you even have that conversation with your husband?
It's never an easy conversation to have, but I think that it's an important conversation to have, because, what your passion is and what your ultimate goal for yourself is really, at the end of the day, for your entire family. Right. And especially as a woman and a mother, it's I'm not doing this just for me. I'm doing this for everybody. And so, again, I'm going back to the conversation with communication. It really is. It's you have to make yourself, you have to be vulnerable. You have to put it all, you have to throw it all up, and, feelings come out, and there's probably going to be, some choice words, which I don't, necessarily agree with, but, it's a passionate conversation. It is, it's never an easy one. I know a lot of people who have had a lot of conversations around money, and a lot of times it puts a lot of stress on a marriage or a relationship. And it's something that you have to figure out how to both commit to. And so, if you can't do it cold turkey, and you can't just jump out and do it, then I suggest, doing it on the side and having a job, and, saving up some money, and, trying to figure out a way to do it that's, maybe not as jarring as quitting your job and just doing it cold turkey and not having any savings in the bank, or, having a little cushion for yourself. I really feel like you need to, think about the situation. Each situation is different, right? So, finances are definitely something that concern all of us, right? So you want to think about the finance aspect. You want to think about, all the other things that you have to worry about, the school and the daycare and all the child care and all that stuff. So, it really is, it's a singular thing for each person, right? So every situation is different. So I would say sit down and really look at your situation. And Brooke, if you want to call me, we can talk about it and, maybe put a plan in place to have the conversation, or I can give you some tools, because it's an important conversation to have. And I don't want you to miss out on something and feel guilty about not doing something that you really wanted to do.
Phenomenal advice. And then Brooke is actually, still on and joining with us. And I'm going to put you guys in touch. She's really interested in being in contact with you. So I'll definitely make that on a Facebook, because we're all three Facebook connected, and I'll bridge that gap. But Brooke says she had her husband's support initially, but because, as you and I both know, this is not an overnight success business. Right. And it does take some time. So we're starting to lose some good faith there. And there's some, rocky roads ahead. Obviously have a more personal conversation, but there's probably other people who are listening to this live. We've actually had over 550 people join us live on Periscope.
Wow.
And over, a few hundred on Facebook Live. So we're doing really good on getting our message out there and serving a lot of people, which is great. So I know you want to have a very personal conversation with Brooke, and Brooke, I'm going to put you guys in touch. But let's say somebody's in that same position where they had the support and everything was going good, but it's like, hey, it's getting a little shaky. And in my personal experience, I have started businesses with a woman, well, not with a woman, and I had a woman around me that supported me initially, and then, things weren't, business is tough, just being real, business is tough. And she was not the happiest with, hey, we couldn't go to the movies on Friday. Right. We couldn't order a pizza on Friday. Like, the pizza pretty real, had to ask her dad for money one time, it's just like, gee, embarrassing. Yeah. But it happens. And that's the life of an entrepreneur. So it is. What would you say to somebody who did have the support from somebody that they loved and supported them, man or woman, but in this case, maybe a husband? What would you say for them to really communicate and get on the same page again? Because you and I both know if the household is not intact, you cannot take on the world. You have to have that unison in the house. Talk to us about that.
I would say that you probably should put a time frame around it. And that really only just means for me something like, okay, you have the initial conversation, you have the initial support, you're not seeing, the revenue come in the way that you thought you were going to see it. So now you need to sit down. You need to have an open and honest conversation. You need to say, okay, here's the deal. I want to give it X more months, or, my whole thing is 2 years. If I don't see this whole, business that I'm doing in 2 years start like really reaping the rewards that I'm expecting, then I will have to recalibrate my mission, right? So how much money did you have put away? Are you comfortable enough to be able to do it? Do you need to recalibrate and maybe readjust and maybe set a realistic time frame for when you see, the revenue that you're thinking that you're going to see. So, again, for everybody it's different, and for everybody's time frame is going to be different. So, you might want to say, okay, let's give it another 6 months. This is what we have. This is what we can do. We can cut back here. We can cut back there. We can do this. We can do that. Or you think again and say, okay, maybe I go and get a part-time job and work 20 hours a week somewhere else to, bring in some income, and, spend the other 20 hours a week, really working on my business. There are ways around it. And there are things that you can do without having to give it up, because I don't recommend giving it up if it's something that you're really passionate about. And you can feel it when it's about to burst, when the bubble is about to burst and you're about to go and get into your next level and go to your next thing. It's very exciting. And it's and as soon as the ship turns a different direction. That recently happened for me. My ship turned a different direction, and I'm so excited about it because that's really what I want to do. And that's really where I'm supposed to be. And so don't give up. That's my number one piece of advice, is don't give up. Find a way to do it, because there's always another way out there to make it happen.
I agree wholeheartedly. There's one thing that you said that really stuck out to me. Actually, I gotta read this comment. So Ian says his wife has been running her hobby as a business for 15 years, and it cost more than he makes at his job. And he wants people to really understand the difference between a hobby and a business. And here's where I'm going to first and foremost say I'm a marketing ninja. I've been utilizing social media marketing specifically since 2008 as my primary marketing tool. And because of that, I know and understand the power of social media. And when Chris says something that, you know, about 2 years is when things start to pop off or really, you know, escalate and go to that next level. That's very true for business. It's very true. Most businesses, like 99.9% of businesses, really will see that, you know, hockey stick curve, if you will, in the year 2 to 3. Most businesses. That's been true for almost every one of my businesses except for real estate. And except for social media or building a personal brand on social media, because
that's a whole different animal.
It's so powerful, especially on live video. Like, we literally have just broke over 600 people live on our broadcast just on Periscope. I mean, this is insane. I'm in the Philippines. You're in,
New York.
On the East Coast over there. It's just like, geez, this is ridiculous. And there's never been a time where you can get yourself out in front of a lot of people to really just connect. Bring your message. Like Krista has an amazing message for a lot of parents, that one that I couldn't bring, even if I tried to. I don't have the street cred for this. I'm not a woman. I've never had a human being pump out of me. You know, I'm not even married. I don't even have a girlfriend. You know, it's like, how could I talk about this? So I bring Krista on to really help me serve the tribe. And I just really want to let you guys know that, look, regardless of what's going on with your business, business is not easy. Business is a choice. It's a lifestyle, guys. And if you want to really, you know, have a business that is, you know, going to hit it, like Brooke just said, she's been doing this since March and she's not going to quit, which is great, which is, you know, love the attitude. Really love that there.
I love it.
Definitely get around some people that are going to help you grow your business for sure. But at the end of the day, guys, the business aspect comes onto you, your acumen, your knowledge, the people that you surround yourself with, and how you invest your time. The one point that we keep dropping is you have to manage your time. And if you have kids, hey, look, I'm sorry, but you're playing the game at a disadvantage. I hate to say it just like that, but I'm being real. I have an advantage over people that have kids because I don't have to go to doctor's appointments. I don't have to go to soccer practice. I have an advantage over people that are married because I don't got to make sure my husband or my wife is happy and that I'm paying her attention. You know, that's an advantage that I do have because I have more time. But because I personally have that advantage, you're listening to somebody like Krista who has learned to manage her time, who has made it manageable, who's showing you every single day that it is possible to do this, and she's sharing how she does it. So I felt like this was a very, very great, actionable interview that is going to help a lot of people to get out there. So for sure. With that being said, Krista, where can people connect with you? Where are you found on this digital space?
I am everywhere. So I have a private Facebook group. It's called the WhyAmIYelling Facebook group. We have 600 members in there right now. We've only been going strong for a couple months. So woo, woo. Social media has changed my life literally since June. So I back every single solitary statement Frank just said about social media because it really will change your business and your life. And so Facebook group, WhyAmIYelling. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. All my handles are at WhyAmIYelling_. And I have a website. So WhyAmIYelling.com. You can sign up for my monthly newsletter, send those out. I do all kinds of challenges in my Facebook group. You can find me. I'm very easily findable.
If you could really just talk to one person right now who is really resonating with everything that we just said, but they're like, but my husband doesn't do this, or my kids are horrible, and I'm hanging on by a thread. Like I see you doing it, Krista, but you're so far ahead of me that it's unimaginable for me to get where you are. What would you say to that person?
I would say, just start. Just start. Like there's no really there, because we all feel that way. I felt that way 6 months ago. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, am I crazy? Why am I doing this? And then it just kind of clicked. And it was like, you know what? I can't start at somebody else's middle. Like I have to start at my start. My start is nobody else's start. And so if you really have found something that you are passionate about and you want to explore, then just do it. make it happen. Like I say that to my kids every single, make it happen. Let's just make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, well, change the game, change the direction, because your end game is out there. And if you can visualize it, then you know what you want, right? So we're all good at that visualizing and that mindset thing and that whole, this is what I see for what I want in the next, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. Just start. You have to start somewhere. You can't stop talking and just start doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, this was a great interview. Again, guys, my name is Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas. I'm the founder of the Talent Tribe, and my duty is to find global gems like Krista Rizzo all over the world to say, look, this is how you can level up. As I always say, for every level, there's a devil, and if the devil that's hindering you right now is, your house and the way you have your family life arranged, you got to reach out to Krista. You got to start utilizing these tips, because we can help you get out there in your business, but also we can help you get your home on lock. Because if you don't have a strong home, you can't take on the world. You just can't do it. So cool. Hey, Krista, thank you so much for helping me serve my tribe. I absolutely appreciate it. Follow my girl at WhyAmIYelling. Look at that amazing branding. Follow her everywhere. And thanks again, Krista.
Thank you.